All right, buddy, here we are. Arm Crossfire is back live for the first time in a little while. We've had some interviews that we've done offline and recorded, but my partner, as usual, Mr. Chris Gobby, how you doing today?
Hey, Ryan, how's it going?
Good, man. Let's talk a little bit about the channel. So I've had some talk lately about why don't we have more subs. So we're going to actually put out that call one more time, as we do on every show, that if you haven't hit sub and you're watching this on YouTube, which after Monday, that's where you're going to watch it. For now, it's going to be on Facebook Live for everyone to see. Hit sub in the corner and show some support. So time to thank our sponsors. We got, of course, Smirnoff Ice, as per usual. And that sounds full.
Oh, yeah.
Crack that thing yet?
5 minutes ago.
And of course, we got ReadyGo.ca, and we're both, and we didn't plan this, we're the signature Arm Crossfire with Espey and Gobby t-shirts that are available at ReadyGo.ca. ReadyGo Garb. So we have also some contests to talk about. We had the month of October. I apologize, man, because I am tired. But we had that contest going last month over on ReadyGo.ca where you could caption the T-shirt. It was the baby. And we have a winner. Gobby, you want to do the honor, or would you like me to...
Oh, we discussed it. I totally forgot the name. So you go. You have that.
Okay, I got it. I got this. The winner is Full Load Ready Go by Jeff in the Falls. So congratulations, buddy. Send us an email at CanadianGangsters@gmail.com, and I will send you off your code for the $50 store coupon and the 10% off for life. And on top of that, just so everyone is reminded, because I'm jumping around here a little bit, lots of Q&A coming in, like a ton of it, but it's been in various locations. So just a reminder to everyone, if you are wanting us to get the questions and not ever miss a question, head on over to, email. So CanadianGangsters@gmail.com. Send your questions there, and we will get to them eventually. We have a bit of a backlog of questions, so we'll get to them all today, hopefully. Before we go any further, let's talk about Patreon members. We have 2 at Tier 1, Brandon Irwin and Jorn Harold Habu. And we've got 2 at Tier 2, so Sean Russell and Bernie Marcocia. News from the week, Gobby. What do you want to talk about first, or you want to give people a little chance to get in here?
No, let them filter in a bit.
Because one of the first things I want to talk about is, WAF is happening right now as we speak.
Is it?
It is. The juniors are finishing up, I believe, today.
Okay.
And the Masters left arm goes tomorrow. Masters and Grandmasters.
Wow. And where's WAF this year? Where is it located?
WAF is in Romania. It was supposed to be in Poland.
That's right.
And it was taken away. Just remind. Yeah, there we go. We got a dozen people watching, but I can't see the comments for some reason. There we go. Aaron Nuckin's in there. So we got comments coming in. I talked to Cody Merritt. I'm keeping in touch with him while he's over there, getting ready to take that Masters left arm title. And he said they haven't. We have you can see those comments, right? Yeah. He said they haven't released the starting list yet, so he doesn't know who he's arm wrestling yet, which is a little bit backwards. Mm-hmm. Usually you see that list, and you at least know who's in your class. They haven't released that.
And Cody will be competing when? Is it not tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting to watch. I don't know where everything lies. I will say congrats to Joey Costello for winning the world level John Miastic Award.
Wow.
Yeah. And on top of that, man, we got questions coming in already, but I want to talk about what do you got going on? Well, I got a few things lined up, but you go ahead.
I was supposed to go to New England's, and because of my work schedule, I'm always up through the night. So I was relying on a guy to go with so I can sleep in the car. He bailed last minute, which was okay. He told me he might, so that fell through. So I ended up just going to Montreal and having a really, really good training at Monster Gym. Like 15, 16 guys, 3 tables, really good training. And my arms were in competition mode because I took the week off essentially. So felt great, had a really good practice, and still recovering.
Nice. Well, I have a practice here tonight. I got the guys coming over, and I'm a little under the weather, but we'll see what happens.
Suck it up, big guy.
I know. Talk a little bit about my super match coming up, and we're talking way down the road. We got August the 8th. Did I mention the show already? 2020.
Yeah.
So I've got Paul Passmore coming up. But I think one of the craziest things is after that match was announced, another match was announced. And I knew that Gabriella was coming to that tournament. It was announced that she was coming as a special guest. And then I was talking to Neil, and Neil picked up in messages on Facebook, and I was telling him about Christine Flicka. And Flicka was being considered, I guess, or I was pushing them to consider her for World Arm Wrestling League. And Neil said, can you send me some video on her? So I was trying to dig up some video on her. She's had matches with Angie Rose. She had wars with Jose Morneau. And as I was asking her, she was like alluding that something else was going on. And then the very next day, Jeff Frank announced that Christine Flicka is pulling Gabriela Vasconcelos best of 5 at his event.
Man, that's massive.
That's to me, that's like a main event. That's the main event right there.
Well, for sure, it's a main event. But I mean, if Christina could even turn that into any type of match, she's an automatic entry into a wall card, right? So big day for her, big opportunity for the Canadian.
Yeah, that's kind of just what I recorded the piece for my other channel. And that's pretty much exactly what I said. She slows that down at all, and that's the golden ticket right there, I think.
Oh, fuck yeah. Jesus, I guess so.
So Mikkel also already asked us, who are the top 3 guys you would each want to pull and why? Well, I guess I want to pull Passmore because I already signed for it, or I already agreed to it. Cody Merritt and I are getting together about 2 weeks after that. And then hopefully he'll be the world champion at the time after tomorrow. And then I just got asked, like, who would you want to arm wrestle if we brought someone up from the guys in Winnipeg? And I didn't have an answer. I don't really know right now. Depends what I'm getting ready for at the time. Because my intention is to go to Worlds next year.
Good man.
What do you think?
My top 3?
Yeah.
Ryan Espey, Todd Hutchins, Jeff Hale.
I can make all 3 of those happen. I'm sure all 3 of those guys would.
Jeff Hale would be cool. Adam Wilmot Wright, just because he could conceivably beat me. I could conceivably beat him. It's a clash of styles. He's a good dude. I like him. I'm sure he'd like to beat me because I rag on him a lot. So I think that could be fun. Left would be Jeff Hale. I don't know, man. I don't really target pullers as much as I target certain events or results. But yeah, Jeff Hale's top on that list, I would think.
Well, did you see on your and it's crazy the way these promoters are announcing these tournaments so far in advance. Like Michigan State next year, you got the Golden Gorillas there, right? That's where you get the Golden Gorillas.
Yes, sir.
They announced the match for next year already. They got Passmore versus Aiello.
That's right. I saw that. Passmore's a hot ticket, man.
He's a hot ticket. Let's hope he can keep it rolling right up until August 8th, where he'll be stopped in his tracks by a 300-pound Ryan Espey.
Yeah, I saw some leaning up there, big fella.
Getting there.
What are you now? Like 340, 350-ish?
365.
365. What's the What's your plan of attack to get down there?
There's some stuff happening, but mostly it's just going to be nutrition. I am going to add some cardio in there. It's time to get in better shape. But we're going to answer some questions. Cody's watching.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I didn't ask for any of that. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. What did we say about him? Oh, no, Cody is trying to pick on me left-handed. Okay, there we go. It makes sense. It's Wayne Withers' comment he's responding to.
Yeah. Michigan State might break, I don't know if it'll break 500, but it's conceivable. That event every year just exponentially gets bigger.
Okay, yeah. Well, you want to dive into Q&A, and then we'll respond to the comments as we got them coming in?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to Michael Nance. He sent me a message the other day just ranting about how he hears that beginners and some amateurs and even some pros are claiming that technique is 60% or the majority of your performance, and strength is actually secondary. And we both had a laugh at that. And I completely agree with him that strength is, in this sport, generally the determining factor.
Yeah. I agree.
Just generally, people think, well, I could have done this, I could have done that. Usually what it is, it's the lack of strength to execute what you want to do.
Right, yeah. And you can see, like, some guys get beat and they look like they're trying the same thing over and over again and just getting beat over and over again. It's the lack of ability to assert your different move that you're trying to do. Yeah. So we're going to... Hey?
I know how to top roll you. I've known how to top roll you since I was 6 weeks in the sport. Difference is, I don't even come close to having the strength to execute it. So it's not a question of technique. Usually it's a question of do you have the strength to execute what you want to do?
Right.
Armwrestling, let's go.
These are going all the way back to the Cobra episodes, so we're going to revisit a couple of these. So Sean Russell says, should arm wrestling training include cardio? Talk to thinks it has no benefit on the table. That's question one. Cardio and arm wrestling.
We've touched on that.
We did touch on it, but we need to revisit it a little bit, I think, for a better answer.
Crazy George once told me back in 2006 or 7 that he likes doing treadmill work and for cardio and stuff like that. There's general cardio and there's arm wrestling stamina. There's two different things. You can take a Lance Armstrong, right, or some type of super ultra marathon runner has a resting heart rate of 42 and great cardiovascular output, and if they're pulling someone roughly their strength on an arm wrestling table, they will fade very, very, very quickly. Yeah, you can take an overweight guy who can't run a mile in less than 12 minutes, and he can have exceptional arm wrestling stamina. So basically, when it comes to cardio on the table, I don't care what you're doing in the gym. The best thing to do on the table is to pull, until you're exhausted, and go to the left, go to the right. Try to keep your heart rate up, specifically in our realm, in our sport, in what we're trying to do. So I don't believe cardio has general cardio has no play instead of just health. I mean, you want to be in generally good health. But when it comes to cardio, my cardio for arm wrestling is actually on the table, keeping my heart rate up for multiple minutes with multiple partners or alternating arms.
I think my answer is similar, but I think building anaerobic capacity on the table is what's more important. Being able to function in states of depleted oxygen levels. And the only time cardio would come into play is when you are in between matches and recovering. And that's just because all of your systems are just working a little bit more in sync when you're in better shape.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just general recovery. That's a good point.
Question 2: why does making money from arm wrestling have such a bad stigma?
Ironically, as you asked this, I see Travis Bagent in the comments. Like, how's that for good timing? I don't know if it has a bad stigma. It has a bad stigma with me. Only because when you're passionate about something and you love something, you can profit. I'm okay with a little bit of profit, but there are some people out there with a specific goal to make big profit. And of course, that's their prerogative. It's just not synonymous with love or respect for your arm wrestling community. You can do what you want. It's just not love, right? It's not what you might claim it is.
Is it a question of
business.
making money off the sport or making money off the competitor?
It's both. I think promoters should make a little bit of money. I think YouTube channels should make a little bit of money. There's nothing wrong with making a little bit of money for your time, but there's certain people out there. I mean, charging $100 entry fee for a $200 grand prize. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
You get 80 entries. You made $8,000 and you've pumped out 2,000.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, a guy like Travis will say, if you don't want to enter, then don't come.
Yeah, for sure, and he has every right to do so, and the pullers have every right. No one's putting a gun to anyone's head to participate or not. But it's my duty to voice an opinion based on that. But people can do what they want. I don't care what to do with it. They can do whatever they want. But there's voices out there. There's opinions, and nothing wrong with that. There's no evilness. It's just.
So, what would you say to the people that? What would you say to the people that say, I watch your show, but I'm not going to give you a sub?
Well, again, you can like something, you cannot like something. I'm all about not liking stuff, but it's people claiming to me that, well, we haven't missed an episode, but we refuse to sub because of Gobby. Well, that's fine. But what you're telling me is you find the show entertaining, you just spitefully don't want to sub it, which is hypocritical in a way. It's like me saying, Ryan, I'm thinking about buying your truck that you have for sale. I want to take it for a test drive. Well, I want to take it for 25 more test drives because I really like it. I'm just not sure if I want to buy it. At a certain point, you're like, buddy, buy it or get the fuck out. Like, this. So, some people are just cheap or spiteful.
Yeah.
Now, if someone says, I don't like the show, I never watch it. Well, I respect that more than someone says they watch it and never sub.
Ironically enough, Travis Bagent says boring in the comments. Travis, thank you for
read that.
We appreciate the support. Even though you find us boring, you're still watching.
Yeah.
Bart Grindheim, in a former episode, said that one of his go-to exercises for strength in the arm is static/dynamic dumbbell curl on a preacher. It would be interesting to hear more about how he executes this. Is it on a 45-degree angle or more like a spider curl angle, or static or dynamic? Only static or dynamic and static. If dynamic, full range or less. How do you train biceps for arm wrestling, Ryan? Well, I'll take the bicep question. I train a lot of very short, tiny movements. But I also mix it in with full range just for overall health. But a lot of static holds, combination of supinated, pronated. Like, it's a lot to explain, but training the bicep directly, it's not the most important thing to do in arm wrestling.
No, and really, people when you're a static exercise isn't really focusing on the bicep as much as the bicep tendon and parts of the elbow.
Travis Bagent's trying to give me a call. Travis, call me back. I'll put you on speaker and we'll hear what you got to say. We go on, Gobby.
Yeah, so really, are you working the bicep, or are you working the bicep in relation to hooking on the table or arm wrestling? Because the static really is not that much bicep as it is bicep tendon and inner elbow.
Yeah,
a full range bicep curl standing up or on the preacher. Now you're looking at predominantly the bicep head.
Did anyone have stories about not being able to drive home after a tournament because their arms got too jacked up at the event? No, I don't have those stories. It's been difficult, but
that's a little bit over dramatic.
Yeah, it's he's got multiple parts to the question. And then Jeff, he says the Gobby's tier system. I heard Gobby say that he believes his left is top 5 in North America for his weight, but also claims he is a tier 3 puller. Would each arm be tiered individually, or is the person judged on both arms? I know the answer to this, but go ahead.
Well, of course, each arm is when we're talking about categorizing an arm wrestler in any way or form, you have to divide his right and his left. I mean, Crazy George is an iconic, legendary arm wrestler in Canada. Not with the left. Left, he's a goddamn bum.
Gobby, we're going to pause for a sec. We have a guest on the show.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
Hey, buddy. Can you hear him okay?
Dude, how boring is this show?
Go on, man.
What's wrong with you guys?
Well, come on in. Make it exciting for us.
Can you listen? I'm offering right now. I want to buy the show. I want to buy the show from you two, and then you guys work for me, and then I'll run the show, and then you guys just answer the questions. Because you know I'm all about big profit.
What's your offer, Travis?
I mean, I'll give you one entry fee, one free entry fee for both of you for the whole year. That's a 300% markup on what you guys have done and all your stuff here.
It's $500. Hey, $500 and $500.
Really well, and then as soon as Devin scared Chris, now Chris won't give us any good content. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $100 entry fee off, and I'll give Devin to leave Chris alone so that Chris can go back to big time good content.
Yeah.
Gobby, what do you think of that?
That's the offer.
Tell that bum.
Gobby,
tell that bum to go.
Because I mean, it's obvious
tell that bum to go
yourself
fuck himself. I'm not. I don't know. I think I'm more of myself than I've ever been. You just don't like the mimes.
He's not speechless, is he?
What's that?
My mimes on Facebook.
He's answering you. Are you watching it on the show? I can't put you through.
Yeah, but I can't watch the show and call you.
Okay.
So I had to stop watching the show in order to call you.
Well, he's done.
My goodness, man. Listen, we need to start talking about steroids, start calling people out. The $100 entry fee thing, it hurts things a little bit, but I'm okay with that. But we got to get some content. We can't be just talking about cardio in arm wrestling. We need some shit here. I mean, let's do something. We got to do something different. So,
well, what about
finish the show?
I want to talk to you about your top roll video.
After that, we need to talk business. Right after you guys get done this show, you call me and we're going to talk business.
Okay, are you going to make a deal that's good for all of us or just for you?
Well, I mean, listen, I don't know how many millions of dollars you guys are making right now, but I mean, we'll just, we'll set out a spreadsheet and we'll make sure it happens. But we got to get Gobby. We got to protect Gobby so that he can give us some material. Because he's just a fragment of his usual self. He's scared shitless.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I can tell. I know you're.
Tell that bum.
Yeah. Telling you that it's all good, that he can handle everything, but it's obvious that ever since this thing started, he's becoming like the nicest guy in the world.
Well, maybe I'm having an effect on him.
That guy's not going to sell any subscriptions. All right? As soon as the show's over, you guys call me. We'll make something happen.
We'll talk.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have Travis Bagent coming in on the phone. Now that he's back to watching the show, Gobby, you can say what you want to say to him.
Well, in terms of his offer, tell that bum to go fuck himself. In terms of me not being who I am, I think he's just a little bit rotten that my last 4 or 5 mimes of him has gotten over 100 likes on. I'm just been ripping him steady on Facebook, but I'm softer than ever. I voice my opinion on Devin almost every show, but I'm softer than ever. I think he's just trolling. He's just, but it's all good. I think we should have him back on the show. I'll rip right into him this time.
I think that would be an awesome episode.
Travis, if you're listening. Travis, if you're listening, come back again, even sometime on a 30-minute show, 20-minute show, and I won't go PG rated on you like I did last time.
You're here for Travis. We'll hear your response in the comments section. Until that comes, we got to answer more questions. Next one is, love your show, good balance and hard hitting where it counts. So what do you guys think about John Berzink advising Ryan Bowen to go to the 95 kilo class instead of the 85 kilo class in Zloty in preparation for the top 8 next year? Because John thinks Ryan can do top 4 in Zloty.
John's a paid employee, right? He's taking money from Ryan. So there might be some bias there. But then again, it's not necessarily terrible advice. I mean, keeping someone big and strong and not always having to try to make weight has benefits, maybe not on the results sheet, but long-term, there are big benefits there. So even though he might or might not be biased, I think that's sound advice. I mean, I don't think Ryan can place in any weight class. It's Zloty. But if he's aiming for wall next year at a certain weight class, he should be keeping strong and heavy in that weight class or above, not below. So I kind of like that advice. But that being said, I don't think Ryan has a prayer top 3 at Zloty in any weight class.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think Bowen's got a shot at placing top 4. I think it's good advice because otherwise Lottie's a one-off for him. If he gets to the top 4, he has a future in that organization. It kind of puts him with a foot in both worlds. I don't think he can do both. I think at some point he's got to make a decision whether he's doing PAL or WAL. I don't think they have a strong enough relationship yet that they're ready to share arm wrestlers. And seeing him over there in the top 8, 95 kilo class would be interesting. But what's even more interesting is that John Berzink is going to be in that 95 kilo class in next year's top 8. Any thoughts on John jumping back?
Is that official?
Well, he said he's.
Is that official? Or?
Well, nothing's official. They haven't. PAL hasn't announced anything, but John has said that that's his plan on Neil Pickup's podcast that he did roughly a week ago.
I'm not surprised because you once to get out of the sport, and we've heard. I think it was Todd Hutchins who said it a long time ago. He was on a Gary Roberts interview. This is when he made his comeback, and he says, "When I decided to leave arm wrestling, I had to get off Facebook. I had to get off everything. To successfully retire or extricate yourself from arm wrestling, I think it has to be a complete transition. As long as you're going to tournaments and shaking hands and saying hi to guys and getting on the practice table, it is very, very hard to step away from arm wrestling like John wanted to do. So as soon as I started seeing him going to tournaments and just enjoying the atmosphere and the ambiance that I'm sure he missed for a while, I'm not surprised he's coming back in because we saw videos of him. Like, there's no surprise that he can still pull at an elite level. The parts are still there. You know, he has slight dings in his shoulder and injuries and this and that. But it doesn't surprise me at all because it is very, very, very hard to stop this or to make a complete transition out of something you've been a part of for 30, 40 years, socially and athletically and competitively. So I hope he does well. And the world, like, he's loved. Like, he's, he's not polarizing like Travis or Devin. He doesn't have any haters. Like he's just, he's iconic. He's like a superhero. So the more we see him, the better.
One of the things he stated was that his shoulder didn't feel any better when he wasn't training, so he might as well train, basically, is what it came down to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well,
take some ibuprofen. Take some ibuprofen, warm up, and have at it.
And get back into her.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be either talking about Babayev, Ongrabayev potentially coming down. And then we have, of course, John, Ryan Bowen. Yeah. All right. Bench Press and Beer, Bench Press and Beer sent us a message. This was posted on one of the videos. Question for Q&A. Do you suggest training the Ready Go? I had my first tournament some weeks ago, and I didn't even react when the judge said go. Going to go to every tournament I can, but it's like one more year, maybe 3 to 4 next year's. One more this year, maybe 3 to 4 next year. training the hit, yes or no? And if yes, how do you suggest going about it? I think we've actually.
I'm not a big fan. Yeah, we have. It's, I'm just a bigger proponent of having building better, more confident hand control. Nothing wrong with timing hits at practice. I've done it. Nothing wrong with it, but it means nothing if you don't have no confidence in your hand control, or have a stronger hand than your opponent. It means it's zero. Build the hand.
Build the hand. I used to train. This is way back when I knew nothing. Make the tapes so they're ready goes and hit with bands and try to just work on timing. So there's all kinds of different ways to do it. Essentially, experience will make you more comfortable and able to assert your will a little bit better on the table. One of the mistakes I always made was loading with everything I had, and I had nothing left to hit with.
Yeah.
So I'm basically
speaking of speed and hand control, Vern Martell in the comments. That dude had both.
So you are getting these comments way before I am for some reason. I just got one that said, Travis Bagent said, answer the phone. And that came in 20 minutes after he said it. So I'm going to rely on you, Gobby, to read out some of the comments as they come in.
Yeah, as I see them, I'll read them.
So what has Vern said?
Vern said, you got to agree, Travis adds some good humor. Love it. You guys are doing great. Janine Penner says hi.
Nice. Hi, Janine. I don't know what's going on with my side of things, but we've lost
Joseph Drellick is saying he's the biggest fan of this show, and he loves Gobby.
Yeah, I think.
A little shocked on that one, but maybe he's high or drunk, or who knows. Maybe his welfare check kicked in and he's happy as fuck. I don't know.
Poor Drellick. Not poor Drellick. He's doing okay for himself. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you can still see me, which I assume you can, I'm going to talk about, in closing of this episode, unless we get Gobby back here pretty soon, that we lost a good family member, a good friend of ours, somebody that's been involved heavy in arm wrestling, as Mark Davies passed away recently. And there is a tournament on December the 14th in Daisy, North Dakota, from 12 to 6 p.m. for all the proceeds will be going to the children of Mark to start their college fund. So regardless of anything else, weight classes, prizes, none of that should matter. We all need to get out there and support this tournament. And I hope to see everyone down there December the 14th. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for bearing with us. We're back on Crossfire round 2. It's been a bit of a shit show today, Gobby, I think, but some entertaining stuff once we get it all edited into the YouTube video, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, man. I don't know what happened, but
impromptu phone call from Travis, which I think was, interesting. I'll put a clip out of just that thing. But yeah, it is what it is. Hey, we got people coming back already. So Kurt Hood's back in there. We're going to take strictly comments and questions, I guess, from the viewers. What do you think, Gobby?
Yeah, man. I'm all up for it.
Candy Withrow Passmore. How can I get a shirt? Great question. Go to readygo.ca and you can order the Arm Crossfire signature t-shirt. readygo.ca. Vincent Squires is in there. So even though we had to take a break and come back, I think our guests are rolling back in here. Are you seeing these comments in real time? Have you got more than 3 on your screen, Gobby?
I got exactly 3 on my screen.
Excellent. So we're synced up again. And we're taking any question from the comments section, guys. And until those come in, what else is going on that you find exciting? Like I'm paying particular attention to WAF. And then, of course, we got to wait another month for the IFA.
I kind of it's always the pro leagues will always exist. I kind of keep checking in on how the not big pro leagues are doing. For example, Michigan State is building up momentum. Well, it's always been massive, but it seems to be getting even record-breakingly big. And New England States, not New England States, but New England Championships rather, just had like over 300 entries, record-breaking. So it seems like arm wrestling on its highest level is doing well, but also at its intermediate pro-am level is doing awesome as well. I think
these one-offs are incredible. Like these big tournaments, like Jeff Frank's tournament has a lineup like I've not seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, no, it's good times, man. Like there's not much.
Bryce McMillan says you pulling at Slamfest, Gobby. Are you aware of what Slamfest is?
No clue.
It is a tournament in Thunder Bay, Ontario at the end of November. And I believe it's $400 first place each arm.
That's right. I looked at that, and it's like his third year running, isn't it? It's not the first time he's had this.
No, it's ran 3 or 4 years. I think they took last year off, and they've always had a good super match. This year it's Fraser Benoit versus Jason Dubray. So Jason Dubray versus Fraser Benoit is going to be a killer left-handed super match.
Yeah, I don't know. Thunder Bay for me is quite a ways. It might be close to 22-hour trip. So even if I conceivably win both arms, but I mean, Thunder Bay in November is I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, interesting. And I was talking about when you had gone off the air that I want everyone to support the Mark Davies Memorial Tournament. Mark passed away recently, and it's on December the 14th in North Dakota. And you guys can search out that information. All the proceeds of that tournament are going towards his kids' college fund. So the awards shouldn't matter. The weight classes shouldn't matter. Everyone should just get to that event and support us.
Oh man, I got before I forget. Absolutely, must support that event if you can get to it. I just noticed Brendan Mulhill's on the thing. I did want to mention something about him. I'm always critical about him. He runs his mouth and stuff like that, and sometimes I think he might be better than who he is. But regardless of that, he went to New England with the specific goal to pull RVJ. Called him out, said he was going to win the tournament, he was going to take home the title. Said that a week prior to going. Went there. RVJ was there, but decided not to pull, which is fine. Brandon Elselsor was there. And Brandon just cleaned up and won. When a man predicts the outcome and then goes and follows through with it, I think that's fucking impressive. A lot of people have run their mouth and never follow through. So kudos to Brandon. Kudos for him. That was there.
I agree. BLM, like, man, confident, cocky.
Love it. Mad
Goes
respect.
to the tournament where he is jumping into a deep pond and he is trying to be the biggest fish. And by no fault of his own, the guy he went to pull doesn't arm wrestle.
Right. And after the fact, some of the comments on Facebook are, well, RBJ didn't pull it. Who cares? It's not his fault. He went there. He traveled 7-8 hours. I don't know how. He took a hotel room. He went with a couple of guys. He pulled, and he won with all intention that RBJ and maybe some other guys were going to be there. And he followed through. I mean, he did what he said he was going to do, which is a rarity in the sport, in this world, really. So big props to BLM.
I agree. Awesome. Candy. Ryan, how do you feel about your match with Paul? I know it's almost a year away, but I feel like it's definitely a match to watch. I think so too. I mean, how can you can't underestimate a guy like Paul. Oh, and he's obviously got racking up some big wins, and he's got some stuff that's happening long before him and I ever arm wrestle. I'm going to be watching him closely, and I've already watched his style of arm wrestling, and I'm going to be making a plan to deal with that. Kurt Hood, he says, I know you answered this, Chris Gobby, but Ryan, what is your best training for hand and wrist? That's a big question, man. Like, I don't do anything I do more of a supporting style of grip training. I don't do anything in a negative position, so I don't use grippers. I use fat handles, but not too fat that they're in an unrealistic hand position. And there's going to be a time when I make the video that's just about hand training. And I hope you tune in for that. Neil Pickup, thank you for saying that. He said, genuinely sorry to hear about your friend and puller Mark Davies. My condolences. I appreciate that, Neil. So he also said a rising tide raises all ships. So I assume that's in response to some of the stuff that Travis was saying and his big offer of a couple of entry fees in order for us to give us the show. But Travis, that's only because you're running out of content, buddy. Like, eventually you need someone to be the yin to your yang, and I don't know, what are you going to do? I mean, have you lost interest?
Me? Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking about Travis's channel. Like, I've watched all of his videos. And hey, Kurt, thank you. You're welcome. And I will actually come up with something better for you than that, what I've given you so far. All right, guys, what else we got? BLM, I want to hear what's next for you. So if you're still watching, where are you going to go, and how are you going to get those guys to actually enter and pull with you? Because the topic that's been hot lately is the protectionist approach of not the big-time pro guys not arm wrestling in the smaller shows for risk of losing.
Yeah, it's a commonality.
Yeah. So Neil says the response was to Chris saying arm wrestling is prospering at all levels. Yeah.
Seems to be.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Yeah. And I got into it with Rob because I really wanted to see that match happen. And it's his prerogative, right? He's gotten to the point at his level where he can pick and choose where he pulls. So it's not so much a critique on him as he has that right prerogative. But just so much of an impressive call out for BLM and prediction with a follow through. Yeah, it just would have been nice to see, specifically when he showed up. When he shows up and he's in the crowd, but he's earned the right to pull where he wants. So fair enough.
True enough, and I think it should be BLM should take that as a huge compliment that guys are getting out of his class to avoid this up-and-coming brash young arm wrestler that's eventually going to be on top of the world. And I think the Matt Mask event that happened in the States, where he took a few losses that people did not expect, may have made people a little bit worried. But in my mind, it got me excited, and I look up to what Matt did by going down there, putting it on the line, even taking an ass whooping. And I think it speaks to his character that even though he got beat in those super matches, he still entered the tournament and took another ass whooping against guys that, he has consistently beat over the past few years. Which is why I have been saying yes wherever I possibly can when someone has asked me to come out and arm wrestle, because I think it's time a few of us got back to finding out what we loved about this sport in the first place, and just enjoying the competition.
Yeah, Matt going to Mississippi and losing, just participating and having those super matches provided more for the sport than him staying at home and not. Was it good for his brand? Maybe not professionally, but for his personality and his character, absolutely. Like, I was a big fan of what he did. I'm a big fan of, like you said, doing it for the people that show up. And, as soon as his name is confirmed in the super match, you have people coming out of the woodwork to watch and support with any other big figure in arm wrestling. So, that's kind of like the anti-Travis Bagent, doing something for other people, doing something for the sport where you don't profit, right? It's
yeah. I mean, we've also seen Matt come to the Fit to Fight tournaments where he's had super matches with guys that were, some local scores to settle against guys like Tyrell Wojciechowski, who is no slouch, but Matt was way above his level on that particular day. And Jeff Frank says Stephen Marcoux, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, will be a heck of a match will be a huge challenge for BLM at the Red Deer Classic. Stephen is one of those guys that nobody knows who he is, but He is a massive up-and-comer. Doesn't say a whole lot, but he is super strong. He's got to be 6'3", 240 pounds, and it's an interesting match. And I've pulled him on the after table a little bit. The guy's put together. Like he's going to be a unique challenge for BLM. It's going to be a much larger framed individual than he's used to dealing with at that weight.
Yeah. BLM's not, I mean, he's not a muscular, physically imposing dude, but I can tell you that if you watch him specifically pull and compete, I don't know if there's many, and I don't know if there's anyone that I know or specifically watch or see that arm wrestles better than him. Like he really, his strength level can go up a little bit. Like he has weaknesses in just raw strength, but I don't know if anyone arm wrestles better than him. Like he really, really, really knows how to arm wrestle. Like, instinctively, he studied it. It's impressive to watch him compete because he never gets beaten. You're not gonna push him, intimidate him on the table. You're not gonna get the better edge on him in the setup. You don't really get anything on him. You just have to be. You have to be stronger, and in many cases, you have to be smarter or as smart, which we don't see too often. Definitely an up-and-comer. Definitely an exciting guy to watch.
So I got a couple of stories. We talked a little bit about we're on the subject of bigger names competing at smaller events. So I went out to the Mansass Challenge, which was a couple of weeks ago, and one of the guys that is one of our biggest commenters on YouTube said he lives in Winnipeg, and it's not fair that he'll never see Ryan Espey arm wrestle at a local event. And I said, well, I happen to be at one right now. Come on down. And he did. He no idea who this guy was at the time. He showed up at the venue and he watched the arm wrestling tournament. And unfortunately, he still didn't get to see. I was entered in the tournament, but he didn't get to see me arm wrestle because we had an unfortunate incident that basically ate up the amount of time he had that he was able to stay there, which was a broken arm. And once that was all taken care of and that guy was on his way to being looked after, he had run out of time and had to leave. But anyway, it's a draw to see some of these big names when people are following the sport more than they ever have.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And good for you for inviting him and seeing that. A lot of people don't know.
Once he said I'm on my way, what is this going to be? But, and it turns out we're from the same hometown. We used to work at the same bar, only a decade apart.
Awesome.
Now, Gobby, what do we got coming up here? What should we talk about before we close off the show? YouTube, we're going to do a Facebook Live.
I don't think we made any decisions.
Yeah. Unless we have a guest come out of the woodwork. I know Travis might want to come back on here. A little bit of cross promotion. He might want to own our channel.
Man, please bring Travis.
Hey,
I'd like to see. Let's bring Travis on. I want to rip into him.
Okay, we'll see what's up. That one won't be for the faint of heart, but we'll see if we can get him on a Facebook Live, because I believe we actually didn't get him on a Facebook Live before. That last episode we had him was recorded, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it was live, we would have been littered with questions. So if I recall, it was definitely recorded. Okay,
well, I'll see if I can make that happen, and we will leave it at that for today. All right, buddy.
I'm also interested in specifically. Yeah, it doesn't have to be today, but I do want to get into your training for Paul. Like, are you doing anything different for Paul? Approaching your super match with Paul, because I think you're a favorite, but you're officially a favorite. But let me tell you, the way he's picking up momentum and steam, that might not be easy for you, big guy.
No, I completely think that that's going to be a really good challenge, and it kind of sucks being the favorite sometimes, but we can talk about that a little more in depth when I have a chance to think about it. And I'm running on more than a couple hours of sleep, and
mean, 10 months away by next spring, he might be the clear favorite, depending on what he does between here and now, now and then. So
yeah, and a lot can happen. A lot can happen. Yeah. There's a WAL season, and I plan on being 300 pounds by the time I get to that event. And,
I want to delve into that too, and also Gobby coming to Canada for a super match. Good times, man.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
So if you guys are watching this right now, you're going to see a better version of it. Go to YouTube because I'm going to splice together the two pieces that got deleted. Or that was when we went to go off the air for a few seconds there. And that's it for today, buddy.
Sounds good, man. Go back to sleep.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. And watch for big news coming about a potential guest.